It is May 2020 and I'm excited to take you on a homestead garden and animal tour. That's right, you get to see all the bunnies, hear all the crows, and hang out with us to see the progress that we've made since April. So follow along.
It is so nice to see the porch cleaned off after so many weeks of seeing it full with plants for the plant sale. We've begun to change over our spring pots, which have these pansies of yellow and orange, over to petunias and salvia. They are still absolutely gorgeous though, because we have had some cooler weather with those pansies. There's geraniums in here that will really grow and fill out that pot. I have anemone and ranunculus that are still growing in those back pots, and I will be soon putting those away for the rest of the summer. I'm absolutely in love with this window box with pansies, petunias, and snapdragons. The color against that wood is just gorgeous, and the gray of the house. This table has a bunch of vegetables that will be going out for summer crops in just a couple of weeks after we get some irrigation down. There's basil, tomatoes, and amaranth and spinach. As you can see here, all of the fill dirt and the mulch has been laid down flat and put down to create wonderful pathways in the garden. And I'm about to take you into the greenhouse to chat about what is left in here for the summer planting. As you can see, there's more different types of amaranth and gomphrena, so a lot of flowers for the cut flower garden are still here. Some sunflower varieties, some snapdragons from Floret that were a gift from my mom that I just topped off. You can see they're missing their tops there. And then we move along to some more veggies. I had some lack of water damage there on my bush beans. There are a bunch of varieties of pumpkins and squashes that I'm really excited to try this year. And I think I probably have 5 or 6 different cucumber varieties in here as well. And I just couldn't help it. I had to do some cuttings from the dahlias, even though this is my first year growing them. As we come along the outside of the greenhouse, you can see a couple of beds that we have Johnny Jump Up, some Coreopsis, some iris that I have moved from other places in the property that were originally here from the previous owner. We also have some dwarf Alberta spruce that are flanking both sides of the peafowl pen. I'm excited to watch those trees grow in. These are hardy geraniums, a perennial that has gorgeous, cute little purple flowers. We are also really working hard to make this back of the chicken shed, which is one of the first things that you see when you come in, a really pretty display to look at, a place to sit and take photos. So we've added some hanging baskets that have petunias and geraniums, and as you come along the side there, you can see some baby hollyhocks that are growing. In the background are our baby chickies that are not so much babies anymore. We have a whole bunch of grow-outs there, and they are next to our perennial Mother's Day garden, which I showed you in the last video. As we swing around here to the back side of the house in the fire pit area, you can see our flagstone pathway is still not complete. This is not surprising, as we knew that we were going to wait till after summer planting is done before we tackle this next project. Our friend that laid down the mulch also made it a little bit flatter in the flagstone area, and I really think that's going to make a difference when we go to lay out the flagstone. As we come around what we call the U fire pit garden, we can take a look at some of the perennials that are blooming, like this columbine, which is the Colorado state flower and also the state where I was born, so I enjoy that flower quite a bit. More perennials, there's some poppies about to bloom in here. These obelisks are actually going to be holding up blackberries and raspberries. We have some bells of Ireland that my mom started from seed right here, and I am excited to use those in the cut flower gardens. Some more poppies and irises. I'm not sure what this perennial is. If you guys know what it is, let me know. There's a pink one in the background. I believe it's a type of phlox. I love this iris in this bed with the yellow throat that it has on it and the 2 different colors of purple. I don't think I have taken you all around this way to see the bird bath. There are a couple of different butterfly bushes, some more iris back here. I want to grow cucumbers up this fence. That is a locust tree that we just passed, which actually looks like a bush. And this is such a great surprise. My husband actually uncovered that garden bed that I just put drip in. It was hiding underneath firewood, so that'll be exciting to plant in that bed. This is the garden bed that Starson and I made last year. There's some leeks that we're going to be saving seed. These are golden beets, and we didn't have very good germination of 3 or 4 different types of carrots, which I struggle with, but I found a new method, and I think I'm going to be sharing some tips and tricks if I can get the germination to be higher. This is a perennial bed that has lilies, and this is Gara here on the front, which is another one of my favorite flowers. It is native to our area, some varieties of Gara, this one specifically, and I'm excited to let it seed around the garden. These are our veggie raised beds, which have some spring crops in them. You saw some sunflowers in the last one, those are volunteers. I also have some potato volunteers, but this is where I actually planted potatoes on purpose. In the center had some garlic that's supposed to be growing in the center of the bed where you can kind of see the straw, but a gopher came in and moved stuff around on me, which is kind of a bummer, so we won't have very much garlic. But there's some head lettuce you just saw with some cilantro. This is supposed to be a cooking radish that actually looks like it's maybe mustard seed. I don't know. It's a beautiful green though. But most of my brassicas are in this bed. So there's cauliflower, broccoli, Brussels sprouts. We also have some more head lettuce on this side, some cutting lettuce. And this is a brand new garden bed that we're about to put drip in. And I'm kind of sad because that was supposed to be part of a class this year, but oh darn, that just means I get a brand new bed next year. This bed has chard, kohlrabi, and peas in it. And if a brand new garden bed wasn't enough, how about brand new market rows that are 30 inches wide and about 25 feet long? We have 8 in this section here, along with 5 in the back side of our property behind the fire pit that I showed you earlier. We're excited to grow cut flowers here along with a couple of veggies. Last perennial bed I'm showing you is a labor of love. I threw perennial seeds in here last year. I'm going to do it again this year, and it is wonderful to see some of the plants that have reseeded themselves, like bachelor buttons, the primrose that was right there. There's a perennial salvia that is up. We are filling holes with dahlias in the back row, along with hollyhocks and lavender, bachelor buttons. It's really a fun bed. This lilac here is about 30 years old. We didn't get any blooms this year because they froze, but I still really enjoy the greens. Between these lilacs is a currant bush. We don't have very many currants on it this year. I'm not sure why. It just didn't really flower that well. Maybe it had to do with the late freezes as well. I'm gonna have to do some more research on currants. This section where you see some dead stuff was a bunch of daffodils and tulips, and I'm about to mow this area over and just kind of clean it up. But I love this little view right here because you can see our pasture chickens in the background with their cute hand-painted coop here that we'll get a closer view on in a minute. But here's our fruit trees. They don't have any fruit this year. We had too many late frost, which is okay because those fruit trees are babies and they need to concentrate on growing their roots in. Here's a closer look at that hand-painted coop. I just love it. And these chickens are super spoiled and get to rotate around the property eating bugs and good stuff. This is the last section of our property. You can see a weeping cherry right here, which is hiding from our intense sun and heat in the shade of this side of the house. And I just wanted to take you on a walk to show you what potential this side has with these huge trees that are going to fill in and just create some wonderful shade. We want to put a pond in between here and just make this a nice seating area to enjoy the chickens, to watch the peacock. And we have some work to do with cleaning it up, but the pens are coming along. You can see some Home Depot buckets that we use for waters that I would love to find something else to use. Some pallets that are in the peacock pen to create some escape places for the chickens that we also need to move out. Maybe put something a little bit funner in there. As we come to this section of the property, I'm just kind of walking you along the mulch path. This path definitely makes it easier to do chores and to take people on tours because they're not having to walk in the mud or the dirt. It just makes it nicer. There is a more cohesive pattern to our place now. The piggies are back here in their permanent spot that they will stay in until it's time to butcher. And we did that because the little stinkers have been beating up on our plants and our animals. As you can see, this goose has a swollen cheek and I'm super sad. So it's a good thing that the piggies have been moved out to their timeout spot. And like I promised, I want to show you a couple of our rabbits. This is Hazel. She is a mixed breed rabbit. She just had her babies weaned a couple of days ago. She's about 1.5 years. She's super sweet. She's pretty spunky. She's a little bit quiet right now. She's blind in one eye and doesn't bother us and doesn't bother her. We just love her to pieces. These babies are about 3.5 months old. They belong to our bunnies that just recently passed away. So I'm probably going to keep one out of this mix. There's 7 in here, 6 girls and 1 boy. I can't believe that they had this many little girls in one litter, but they are just as sweet as can be. And I love it that you peek in there and all you see is ears. Next is Alps, and I know you all are really familiar with him. He is more of our house bunny. We take lots of photos and stuff with him because he is so friendly. We love to have him in the house with us. These 2 girls really want attention, but we'll come back to them in just a second. These are Hazel's babies that were just weaned a couple days ago. You can tell one of them looks just like her, and yep, there he is. Little boy. I haven't sexed all of these babies yet, so I don't know how many are boys and girls, but they are definitely friendly little babies. These 2 girls are Velvet on the left and Sage on the right. They are looking for treats. I love to feed the bunnies stuff growing in the garden and in the yard that I know is safe for them. We are actually planting a bunch of sorrel and comfrey to add to the bunnies' diets so that we can make sure that they are really getting nutrient-dense food. You could say spoiled bunnies, that's for sure. This is Infinity on the right side. She is a registered Rex bunny, just like Alps. So we got them as a mating pair. And this is her friend Honey. They are absolutely attached to each other, very bonded. They're always sleeping together. If one is at the top, the other one immediately goes up. So we will always make sure that these 2 have buddies to hang out with. I want to show you our quail. We have some jumbo quail that are in here. We actually had a button quail rooster. He is pearl colored, I believe, and we had to take him out because these stinkers were beating up on him. They're so much bigger than he is. Quail are incredibly curious. I love the noise that they make. We've just really had a lot of fun and enjoyment out of raising quail. I want to end the video by showing you Pete the peacock displaying. It's kind of a rare sight to be able to catch him because most of the time he likes to display towards the tree out there, and I'm not sure why. I hope you all have enjoyed the tour this month. It's a little different than last month's tour, so I'd love to see your comments below on which method you prefer. Please press the subscribe button if you want to stay with us and get updates on when we post our new videos. There's Pete in all his glory. Thank you so much for paying attention. We're going to end this by shaking our tail feathers on out of here. We will see you next month. Thank you so much. God bless.